Alright, well this is the unboxing. You got a little beat up on transit, but looking at it, it looks like we should be okay. Got some tracks and rails. There's the depth gauge. Got a little damage to that box. And let's see, there's some of the cage. There's your water feed system. Look at that, Frontier Sawmills. This is the Frontier OS23, and let me see, it took a little over, a week and a half to get it here, but there was a Labor Day holiday involved. So this is the initial unboxing. Look at that, everything's all personalized. Delivery was easy. It is a 1,000-pound crate, so I wish I'd have known 1,000-pound and awkward. Alex, I'm taking a video. This is an unboxing video. Well, you're in the unboxing video, Max. Listen, this is 1,000 pounds, Max, and it doesn't sit very easily on this wooden trailer. It kind of slid around a little bit as I drove it home. So make sure you secure your load. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and get all the boxes out of there, kind of itemize it, and then we'll check back in with you and figure out what the next step is. Attacking some sort of serpent, I'm sure. Definitely attacking, oh, what is it? Oh, it was the water hose. Get it. Did you get it, Rockel? Yeah. Good job. There you go. Okay, so we've got unboxing done. We have our first setup here. Not actually assembled, just laying it out and making sure I'm on a reasonably level surface. I'll have to level it up in a minute here, but all the parts appear to be in good condition. It's got a lot of stuff that I guess we'll figure out what it's for, but we got all the big parts out except for the big actual carriage that holds the motor.
Okay, with that, we are on to assembly. The first part is to assemble the cross braces to the angle iron using the carriage bolts, and Max and I were getting that done. Next up, we added the second section and linked them together. We got everything assembled. This is finger tight only, and a good tip here is look at the manual. The manual has a picture of a bag with the number of the bag for the hardware that's in it, and so that's really helpful. The next step, these yellow pieces that I just brought us alongside here, they end up being the bottom rail, and basically it's a piece of metal that sticks down below the angle iron. We had to put the feet on at this point, and fast forward one step so that we could actually put the keeper rail, the yellow piece, on. Otherwise, it stuck down too far and set on the pieces of wood. There was a couple of cross braces, and then we read a bunch. And let's see, we read some more, looked for more parts. This next step involved running a string, I think. The string basically helps you to make sure that the whole thing is straight and level. You can see we end up measuring it a bunch of different times, make a few phone calls, measure a few more times. It was a little bit tedious at this point, getting everything the exact right distance apart. The rails are supposed to be 32 inches apart exactly, and we were really fighting with it for a while there, struggled with it, and then remembered that we'd put a different cross brace on it that holds one of the log keepers, and that was actually what was keeping us apart. It had the wrong distance on it, so we floundered for a bit. So just remember at that point that you've got that other cross brace in there. We had some more friends come to help because that carriage was heavy, so we cooked some steak. The whole family was involved, got the carriage out. Seriously, at a bare minimum, 3 strong guys to get it out. With that, though, you need to have an idea of where you're going to place it because these legs that we're assembling need to go up inside of it. It took us a little while, and eventually we figured out that we could place it on some firewood. In the meantime, we sat there trying to figure out if we could put it up on. It just was too heavy to lift without 5 or 6 guys, and so we eventually put out these pieces of firewood, put a piece on it, slid the thing in, and then our friend Corey showed up and we built this little walkway so we could roll it over, and then up and on it went. And that was the end of day one. That was probably 3, maybe 4 hours of good solid work. So day two comes around, lots more reading to figure out where we're at. We start assembling the top portion of the carriage, and there's a lot of meat to this. This is where your winch that lifts it up and down gets assembled. This is where your water, the lubrication system comes in. And so I guess the one big piece on this was with the OS 23, it may have had the right hardware that looked right, but a lot of the bags were labeled for different models, and it was really hard to tell what was actually the right hardware and which wasn't. In the end, I figured it didn't matter a whole lot. I tried to use lock nuts as much as I could. I figured out which way the tank went on. The water actually faces back so that you have the valve towards you. And let's see what else. I think the biggest piece was making sure that you didn't tighten things before you were supposed to, but you did tighten them in time that you had access to them before you lost access, basically, because there's a lot of panels that get in the way of other things. The winch axle, basically, that gets in the way of tightening a lot of things down. But once it's in, the thing moves up and down really, really nicely. It wasn't too bad getting it done. I think one of the only other things that I really struggled with was figuring out where to route the cables and the lines, because there was no intuitive way to do those things. And this is just about done at this point. So let's do a walk around.
Okay, and here she is. All assembled, all the parts on. There's a lot of leftover hardware, but it's really not too bad. It's a good looking sawmill. Um, Everything really went together nicely. The fact that the carriage is fully assembled in advance and all you have to do is put it on the rollers, that really made it a lot nicer and a lot easier than I was expecting in terms of assembly. I mean, all told, we probably have maybe 6 hours of assembly time, and that is counting all of the breaks and popsicles and little kids helping. So I mean, it really turned out nice. I'm quite happy.